Thanks for watching the Fanatics Sports Channel.
NBA Playoff Preview. The Houston Rockets. James Harden, the offensive juggernaut, the reigning MVP. Everyone knows this. He will not get the same foul calls that he gets in the regular season that he gets in the playoffs. He hasn't any year. Last year, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that. He never does. And I'm not. He shouldn't expect it, and I'm not expecting it. I think Harden is. I will say this though. I think Harden is more polished than he has been. Period. Ever. He's more polished than he has been ever on both sides of the ball. Conditioning wise, I hope he's been working on his conditioning. I hope he is ready for the stretch that is the playoffs, because he's been foot on the gas the entire season. With Chris Paul getting hurt, he's had to step up offensively. He's had to be the facilitator and the offensive juggernaut, like on the scoring end. He's been pretty good on defense too. He's never been a good defender, but he's put up more effort because he's been more of a leader this year. And he's been looked at as a leader. He's the leader of that team, and you can see it this year. More than last year, more than the year before that, and more than the year before that. He is becoming the leader of the Rockets, the unquestioned leader of the Rockets. Chris Paul, though, I still think is the most important player on the team, and I'll get into that in a second. Chris Paul did spend most of the season. One more thing about Harden. I think he's been the most consistent offensive force in the league. It's just, he's been phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal. And if he played as good of defense as Paul George, or if he was as much of a beast as Giannis on both ends of the floor, then I bet he would get 2 straight MVPs. I doubt he'll get another MVP this year, although I would argue that he probably deserves it more this year than he did last year. And last year he was great. I'm not saying he wasn't. But like this year, when Chris Paul went out, James Harden said, "Give me the ball. I'll take it. I'll take it to the rack every time. I don't care. Or I'll make a great pass." Harden took over D'Antoni's offense and has been a superstar. He just scored 58 the other night. He's been a superstar all year. I hope he has some gas left in the tank for this run. I'd love to see Harden. I honestly would like to see him win a ring. I wouldn't mind it. I think he's a winner. I think deep down he's a winner. Let's get to Chris Paul. Chris Paul spent most of the season injured, but he's finally come back, and he's come back with a vengeance. He looks like a man on a mission who desperately wants to win at least one title to cement his legacy as a great all-time player. I really think that he's the most important player on the team. I'll get into this in a second, but the reason why they were winning against the Warriors last year in the Western Conference Finals, they were up 3-2, is the reason why was Chris Paul. He was unstoppable. His ability to facilitate an offense and also have add James Harden to the mix. His whole package was just amazing, because Chris Paul is like a field general. He's like a quarterback. He can get people involved really, really well. And he's really good at facing the Warriors. He's given them problems a bunch. And it would mean a lot for him to win against the Warriors and to win a title following this year. I really think he could too. I really think it's on him too. Clint Capella, he has been hurt, and he came back. He's finally well rested. He's been playing well, even better alongside Chris Paul than he did last year, I would argue, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Eric Gordon, he needs to play like a star. He really does. He needs to play like a star on the defensive end, especially if the Rockets plan on winning a title. He needs to hit the jumpers that are, when he's wide open, he needs to hit them all, or not them all, but he needs to hit at least 50%, 40% of those jumpers. He needs to play well. Him and Chris Paul are really important. James Harden, I feel like just his presence, it does a lot for the Rockets. But James Harden, there's been times when James Harden hasn't hardly scored and the Rockets win, just because James Harden, just does James Harden things. And, he does need to score, though. But so does Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon needs to play really well. But if Harden is on fire, he needs to focus his energies mostly on defense. Nene's role hasn't changed. He plays really well alongside Capella. They're honestly, you could point to that as well as like a huge component to their success. The fact that they have two really good rim protectors who also Nene can pass too. Capella's no slouch on the offensive side either. So they're both really good down low players. The league doesn't have that in many teams. They don't have two extremely good offensive players down low. Austin Rivers has been overlooked and very nice player, nice surprise for this Houston Rockets team. He's a new player for them. He used to play with Chris Paul with the Clippers, so he knows exactly how to play with Chris Paul. He knows the offense Chris Paul wants to run. He can probably do everything Chris Paul can do on a minor level because he's been playing behind him so long. He can also play defense. He can get to the rim. He's long. He's pretty long for a guard. And he can give Chris Paul a break. He really can. He knows exactly what Chris Paul wants to do. Kenneth Faried, who has waived a few times and has been bouncing around the league, he's found a nice home in Houston, playing defense at the perimeter and down low. The Manimal, as he's been called, is playing off the ball with Harden and Paul really well. He can finish those offensive buckets, those runaway balls. Gerald Green is a solid player all around, not overwhelmingly a great defender, but he can provide perimeter defenses and catch and shoot guys. Like he can D up Clay potentially, not really well. I'm not going to say Clay's not going to drop 25 on him, but he's a guy. He's pretty good. He's a pretty good guy. His athleticism, his 3-point shooting, that's defined his career with the Rockets. The Rockets' biggest problem is Kevin Durant. And I'll talk about it. I'm going to show you some clips here, a clip or two here. Most assume that these teams will meet again after that 7-game series in the Western Conference Finals last year. And the Warriors had to win 2 straight elimination games against the Rockets, one being a Game 7. After the Rockets lost Chris Paul, they were done. Like in those games, KD scored 34 and 35. KD has been unstoppable against the Rockets. PJ Tucker usually guards KD, but it might be necessary for the Rockets to either double KD, and this is going to sound crazy, but double KD and take your shot with the 2 greatest shooters of all time, Clay and Steph. I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes shots don't fall. I mean, shots don't fall every single time. Like, it seems like it because it's Curry and Clay, but they only shoot 50%. Half the time they're not making them. Sometimes you can have a bad night. KD, though, is a guarantee. He'll drop 35 on you no matter what in the playoffs. He'll just do it. So you might need to double him. You might need to make him uncomfortable. And this is a slightly different Rockets team from last year. I would argue it's maybe 2% better. Not much better, because they seem to have a good flow last year. But the reason why I would argue it's 2% better is because Chris Paul, he spent a lot of the season resting because he was unhealthy, and now he looks like he's just right in his prime. So this is good. He's well rested going into the playoffs. He usually burns out at the end of the year, and I would assume if he can stay healthy, the Rockets have a chance. But they also don't have Trevor Ariza anymore. They had a little mellow experiment that blew up in their face, and they got rid of him. But thanks to some ingenuity by Daryl Morey, the GM, and some pretty good coaching by former Coach of the Year Mike D'Antoni, the Rockets, they have Austin Rivers, and also they got Austin Rivers, Iman Shumpert, and Kenneth Faried, all significant additions to their team. I would say that Daryl Morey he kind of saved the day with those additions, because there's no way they would be as good as they are when they lost Trevor Ariza if they didn't get Iman Shumpert, Kenneth Faried, and Austin Rivers. They wouldn't have gained that 2% that I gave them, 2 or 3% better. But with Chris Paul being injured, he also, like I said, he was also able to rest. He seems to be hitting his stride. He will be the most important player on the Rockets. The Rockets need Chris Paul to play well if they want to win a title, and they need to play well against the Warriors. And I think they will make it past if they will make it past Golden State, they will win a title. That is going to be the biggest if going into the playoffs. If the Rockets can beat the Warriors, that will be interesting. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to my rant about the Houston Rockets playoff preview, and I hope you guys have a great day, and give me your comments below. Remember to follow, subscribe, check out our friends from the Rum Boys, Spotlight Sports, and so many others. I will link them and show.
Stepping up to the couch, it's Brian. who led the league last season in cracked screens. But with his new athletic case, it looks like that won't be the case.
Promo code
Touchdown,
FANSPORTS for 10% off your purchase. Big shout outs to Chief Before Gaming, NBA Trains, The Real Bryce Duhan, Rum Boys Fantasy Sports Network, Spotlight Sports, Darion, Council Talk, Christian P, CP Sports Talk, Unfiltered Opinions, and NBA Joya. OvertimeHeroics.com and Belly Up Sports also. Everyone have a great special huge shout out to BEBOLUTION. BEBOLUTION on Dones on Facebook, BEBOLUTION on YouTube. Here's his logo. He does most of my beat.